I also have type 2 bipolar and ADD. I want to tell you why we need to be talking more about depression and mental illness in our offices, with our peers, at meetups, and at conferences like this.
This is from a talk I gave back in April called Devs and Depression. The talk started as a lightning talk back in November, 3 weeks after a friend and coworker, Caleb, was supposed to meet with a psychiatrist for the first time.
He didn't make it to his appointment. We found out later that he had run out of money, and the day after that, he died of an overdose. The thing that pisses me off most about this is that Caleb died of an overdose on speed. Speed is an amphetamine, and the meds that are prescribed to me for my ADD are dextroamphetamine. I'm quite certain that Caleb died self-medicating an untreated mental illness. The history of computer science is too littered with tragedies like this. Alan Turing, the father of computer science, committed suicide after facing intense persecution from his government. And earlier this year, we lost Aaron Swartz to similar circumstances. In 2007, Aaron Swartz wrote this. He said, "I have a lot of illnesses. I don't talk about it much for a variety of reasons. I feel ashamed to have an illness. It sounds absurd, but there's still enormous stigma around being sick. I don't want to use being ill as an excuse, although sometimes I wonder how much more productive I'd be if I wasn't so sick. If I stood up here and I told you guys that I had cancer, I wouldn't be afraid that anyone would think, oh, it's just all in his head. If I told you that I took insulin, no one would say, aren't you afraid that you're going to be dependent on that for the rest of your life? No one would think that I was using it as a crutch. If I broke my leg, no one would say, well, just try harder. They say, go see a doctor."
The talk was incredibly well received. It touched a nerve way more than I expected it to. And I've been speaking probably about over half a dozen conferences, including LessConf, over the last several months. I'll end up giving this talk over a dozen times by the end of the year. The response was kind of overwhelming, and in response, we launched devpress.com, which is a forum for developers to share their stories, and for the tech community to help reduce the stigma around mental illness. You guys are changing the trajectory of people's lives, and I would like to help with that. There are people in your audience who their brains work differently. It's why they're there. And a non-trivial percentage of them, as I'm finding, of the people who exist in the developer-entrepreneur overlap, are struggling with mental illness, and they might not know it. They might just feel shame that something's wrong with them, or shame that they're not realizing their full potential. And I'd like to reduce the stigma of mental illness so that those people can seek the help that's out there, not feel shame about it, and that they can reach their full potential.
And if things seem so bleak for you right now and you feel like it's not going to get better, just know that 10 years ago, I was at college, laying in bed at night, and I was praying that God wouldn't wake me up in the morning. 6 years ago, I had $1 in my pocket and no hot water in my apartment. And today, I'm standing on stage at Mountain West Ruby with my beautiful wife in the front row. Things get better. We just need to start talking about it more. Thank you very much.